right, we are here in Chinatown. I always do my click, but my videographer, cameraman, or camera boy, wanted to do it this way because he's in the movie industry. All right, Kyle, this way like this. Does this look good?
Looking great.
All right, so I'm gonna do my click here now. Is this good, Kyle? Mr. Cinematographer?
Great.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chinatown, Vancouver. I'm here with Kyle. I'll put his Instagram account down below here. He is a huge Fujifilm fan as well as a Leica fan, but I think you like Leica better, right?
It's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up, all right. But today he has two GFX, one 50S and the other one is, no, the original 50S.
OG.
And then the 100S. And I didn't even tell him to do that. He kind of picks and chooses what he wants to shoot. And today we're looking at the new Sigma. If you can get closer here, Kyle. The Sigma 23mm f1.4. And this is part of their, well, it was a trio of primes of 16, 30, and 56. And now they've added the 23 to really round out their prime lenses. They have the 18 to 50 f2.8, which is a awesome lens for content creators like myself. Yes, the Fujifilm 16 to 55 2.8 is better performing. Yes, the Tamron 17 to 70 f2.8 is better performing, but that 18 to 50 2.8 is compact, it's lightweight, and you could just take it everywhere with you. And so that lens, as well as another lens, the 100 to 400, that lens I don't have on me because it's huge, but I'll do a different video for that one. But I've been shooting this 2314 for the past couple of weeks, so thank you so much, Sigma USA, as well as Sigma Japan, for sending me this copy. And I don't have the 16, 30, and 56 on me at this time, but I did have it a couple of months ago. Great lenses. I did feel like, they need one more lens in the middle, and here we go, the 2314. Now, this is not a concise review of this lens. This lens was available as an L mount, as well as a Sony E mount. So if you want a concise test by other YouTubers, just type in Sigma 2314 and you'll see it in L mount as well as in E mount. But again, this is a cropped APS. I shouldn't say crop because I don't like using that term, especially for X mount, because this is not cropped. This has always been APS-C, but this 2314 is available as a Leica L mount on their CL as well as on the Sony E mounts, any of the 6000 series cameras. And so check out those reviews. Optically, this is definitely better than Viltrox 2314. That really has a lot of chromatic aberration issue. This lens is not as good as Fujifilm's own, the brand new 2314, but price-wise, I think you can forgive Sigma. I have this on the X-T5, and I've punched in, it can definitely handle the 40 megapixel sensor. Not as nice as Fujifilm's native lenses that are designed specifically for this new 40 megapixel sensor, but still pretty darn good. Has chromatic aberration wide open at f1.4, but by the time you stop down just to f2, it's gone. With the Viltrox, you gotta stop down to like 2.8, f4 before it's completely gone. So this I can live with, especially for the price point. Now, no aperture ring. And that makes sense because if this was originally designed for Sony E mount as well as for Leica L mount for the APS-C lenses, it makes sense because those cameras tend to want you to use the dials. And on the X-T5, it's fine because you do have two dials here. Now on cameras like the XE4 and maybe the X Pro 3, it's not as intuitive because the X Pro 3 doesn't have the front button push-in where you can switch to shutter, aperture, or ISO. I found that it's fine on this camera here, but if you look at the size and weight of this lens, I think that's the only real negative. If you have a 23 f2, well, here's the lens hood. There you go. So it's still lighter than Fujifilm's own 2314, but it's definitely heavier than the 23 f2. So if size and weight is important to you, as well as having the aperture ring, I would say get the Fujicron, the 23 f2 from Fujifilm. Optically, this lens obviously is way better than the 23 f2. That lens has quite a bit of character. That lens is not very sharp if you're doing minimum focus. Same with this lens, it's not that sharp at minimum focus. Again, sharpens up when you stop down to about f2.8 to f4, but the sweet spot is probably from about 5 feet out and further. And so for street photography lens, for general purpose walk around lens, if you can put up with the size, If you could put up with not having an aperture ring, this is a great alternative to Fujifilm's own 2314. And so I will have a more concise review coming up, as well as an article for Fujilove, which I'm working on right now, if you want like detailed images and as well as punched into the images. But so far, everything works on this because Fujifilm has opened up the mount to third-party manufacturers. So you see all that, the contact points. So all the XF data, as well as some of the lens corrections and some of the, if you have the custom functions for autofocus on the rear here and whatever it does, the lens will do it. You have the manual focus override. So if you're in autofocus and you want to just kind of quickly tweak or fine tune your focus, you can do that as well. Another thing is this lens, the focus ring is quite big. It would be nice if it was half the thickness because it's easy to grab this. And if you want to take the lens off, you only have this little bit of a space down here to press the button, then here you go. Because if you press here, see that the whole thing just kind of spins. So it would be nicer, it would be nice if it had an aperture ring. So maybe in the Mark II version, because I have a feeling that Fujifilm mount, the X mount, will outsell the Leica L mount for APS-C and the Sony E mount for APS-C. And so I think manufacturers like Sigma, Tamron, Tokina, Viltrox, well, Viltrox has already done it, but be able to cater to Fujifilm X mount shooters and put the aperture ring. But for now, optically, great lens. Thank you again, Sigma, for sending this out to me. More tests to do, and look for my other first look at the 100 to 400 Sigma. We'll talk to you soon. And Kyle, thank you so much for shooting, and we'll talk to you soon. Happy shooting. Click, 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 click. All right, so as we walk through my favorite alley, one of my favorite alleys here in Chinatown, you guys may have noticed this wall here. I've done tons of portraits, but a lot of it is sort of lens tests, and I did one with this new Sigma 2314. And let's talk about the 2314 in terms of a focal length. So it's a 35mm equivalent. The X100 series is a 23, so it's kind of a standard view. Now, I personally prefer the 28 equivalent. So in APS-C, that'll be about an 18mm, but it was fun shooting with this lens. I had to take a couple steps back, which I'm not used to. Some people, I mean, if you shoot the X100, this is gonna be a perfect lens for you, except for sort of size and weight. But you are getting a 1.4 and you are saving quite a bit of money over Fujifilm's own 2314. And the alternative, as I mentioned before, would be the 23 f2. Can't perform as well as this lens here, but it is half the size, half the weight. And I think in price-wise, it's probably close to the same price. This might be a little bit more expensive, but you are getting pro optics with this. And as I mentioned, I punched in with this, with the X-T5, and it can handle the 40 megapixel resolution pretty darn good. And so, yeah, that's bonus material for you. And here comes a van.